another episode of Muttering Pines. What are we doing today?
I think we're going to change the oil in your new quad.
I think we're going to do more than that. I think we're going to drain everything completely and replace everything, aren't we?
It does need a good replacement. We have no idea the service history on it, and it has, what is it, 1,200, 1,400 clicks on it? And
Sure.
Yeah. So the service manual would say you need to do this every time you start it, and since we've never done it, let's do it. We're going to change the rear differential, the transmission, the engine oil, the front differential, and to do that, we're going to use some new products.
Angle drive fluid, demand drive fluid.
Why are they different?
Well, I don't know, you tell me.
Because Polaris charges more money for both. A quart and a half or 2 quarts of AGO, the transmission fluid. Tubes of grease. Oh my god, expensive.
And a grease gun. This one's also from Polaris, and it's super cheap. I'm gonna need
Oh, fuck.
new back. We're gonna do a new back because I didn't realize that
I'm
was
just
heavy.
going to do a spinal fluid change on you.
I'm gonna need the oil change kit, also from Polaris.
So if you're smart, you can buy this all from a Polaris oil change kit in one package for about half the money as what ended up happening here.
Where we bought it all individually because.
Our local dealers don't carry kits because they want to charge more money.
And you can get them off Amazon too, you said.
Yeah, shipped to your door without going to the stupid Polaris store.
Perfect. I mean, the great Polaris store. Polaris is awesome.
Oh, yeah, about that.
All right, let's get to it.
We're going to start, pull this wheel off to get better access to the transmission and the rear differential housing. And then we're going to pull the skid plate cover off so that we don't fill it with oil.
Perfect. And before we started, you jacked this up.
No, I jacked it down. I made sure it would work.
Okay.
I need to break the wheel loose.
And then you put the handbrake on
Yeah, just
So-
because it was going to roll over and fall.
and kill us.
Only when I get underneath it is it actually going to fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's crack the nuts then.
Yeah. Remember when I said we needed to break
She
it
said.
apart? Yeah.
You don't need to break apart. You need to. Oh, fuck with that.
That old man body.
Ugh. What?
There. Before you break it. Before I break my hand. Jesus, whoever tightened these. Look at that. That's crazy.
That comes back and kills you. I'm selling this as snuff. So.
You gotta have a better break bar.
So now that they're loose, we can jack the wheel up.
Remember when I said it was gonna fall?
But you said that you'd be under it, so who looks like an idiot now?
I don't know.
This is treacherous in all forms of.
Yeah.
Thought we were prepared. That's not gonna hold.
Sure won't.
So, okay, why are we putting it there?
So put it under there, but we need like a 4 or 6 inch stick or something.
Wow.
Always have a proper supply of wood.
Yeah, that'll work, right?
Here's hoping. Brakes on, so hopefully it doesn't go too far.
That looks like fucking jet wave to happen.
Yep.
Because
But-
this is gonna kick it up.
but it's okay.
Alright.
It's okay. So now that's in the air.
Yeah, hang on. Just give it a pause in case it get the wheel off.
Yep. So roll him kind of out of the way. And now we will work on pulling the skid plate, which, hey, that's cool. I put the jack underneath the skid plate because I did it in the wrong order. That's okay. You want to redo that?
So we're just gonna put the wheel back on.
Yeah, and then take the skid plate off first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what are we gonna do now?
Now the first thing we should do is pull the skid plate. It's only, you don't need it to really access anything, just so that when you pull the oil out of the transmission and rear diff, it doesn't drain down into your skid plate and then you drip oil everywhere.
Gotcha.
So that takes a T40 Torx wrench. And I think there's six bolts back there.
Fuck. You know what I wish I had? A ratchet. The funny thing is, it would probably be easier to get this off with the wheel off on that side.
Maybe the wheel should come off first.
This is ridiculous.
Hey Darren, what are we doing over here?
We are putting the wheel back on because I lost my torque bit for my ratchet, and this did not fit past the wheel, so we had to jack it up with my jack that's not made for jacking up quads. So we had to jimmy rig that.
Should we?
So that's taken 20 minutes. Then we had to pop the wheel off so I could get this stupid fucking tool in there. Take off one bolt. Now I'm putting it back on so we can bring it down and keep working and hopefully have some continuity.
Well, let's just for the edits, let's see what we're doing back here. So we have a jack, which is meant for, I'm not sure what, but it doesn't seem to lift anything. Jack all. There you go, dad joke of the day. So we tried a stump. We tried another stump. We tried some extra boards. And now it's actually just precariously perched on here, just high enough to get the tire off. And now we have to put the tire back on so that we can actually do it to the other side.
Okay, so now we got the skid plate off. Now we unscrew the oil filter.
Yeah.
Which means we need an oil pan. Yeah, we're all good. All nice someday. Alright. You can get ratchet heads for this, right? Not ratchet heads, but like a
socket to cup it.
Yeah.
But
we don't have that, so we're gonna just use our hands. Hope it's not too tight. Oh, shit and death. Okay.
You got strong fingers. Last time I did mine, I had to use channel locks to grab it, and that was a mistake.
Why?
Well, because I realized I almost didn't get it off without puncturing the oil filter, and if I couldn't get it off, I was fucked. I couldn't move the machine. New filter. Take a little bit of oil, smear it around on there, especially with a douchebag's hand.
I like the way that you're gentle with the fingers, though.
That oil is actually pretty clean.
Yeah, well, good thing we're doing this.
Yeah. Lube her up.
Put it right back on, right?
Put it back on. Very tighty. Make it tight.
And you want to try and get it right on there without too much fumbling, so you don't get dirt and grime on that.
On the seal.
That seal.
Yeah. How'd that go for you?
Nailed it. My hands are slippery though, so I'm not really screwing it in. No, it'll be easy to come off because it's gonna fall.
Yeah. So get it just a touch and then give it a quarter turn.
I can't. I'm too slippy.
Okay. Well,
Good enough.
We'll get a rag and do that later. All right.
So it's an Allen key to get this off. So you have it on the end of a ratchet, and it's this guy right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what it's not, though? This size.
Turns out it's different than the differentials.
So we're just gonna get the right size. Number 2. All right, so it is also not that size. And there we go. That's the one. Yep. Now that is actually pretty clean. We're gonna let the oil drain.
Now we're gonna drop the transmission. So the transmission has a shitty location for a drain plug. The shitty location for the drain plug is way back there. It happens to be on top of your skid plate. So use a Allen key and then a funnel and catch all the oil in a pan.
Yeah, so this should be great. Can't imagine what's going to go wrong here.
No.
Just don't have any room.
Yeah. Shitty spot.
So once this drains, we'll put the plug back in there, and then we'll fill it here.
So it's got some metal filings on it, but that's a magnetic plug. It's supposed to do that. So I would say this thing probably hasn't had its oil changed in a long time.
So I'm just cleaning this plug up. Just wiping all the schmoo off of it. It's a technical term. Schmoo. Schmoo. Okay.
Let's fire it in, and then we'll pull the fill plug, and we'll fill it up. It's 1/4 turn past tight.
Now we pull off the fill plug. Beauty.
Look at that. The kit comes with a nipple that screws directly onto these big bottles. So the big bottles, if you get like a differential fill for your car, they have the plastic nipple, and you can just put a hose on it, something like this.
Yeah.
But we don't have one of those, so you have this.
Yep, so I've basically taken a hose, and in that hose, I've put a Bic pen, because
What kind of Bic pen? Is it a big black Bic?
Big black Bic.
A big black Bic.
It happens to be the right size to fit in the fill hole. It's kind of shitty that you have to do this, but it is what it is. Now, what's going in is the AGL gear case lubricant and transmission fluid.
Yeah.
So,
And it's got a dark purple hue to it right out of the bottle.
put that in. Sucker.
So I think it takes about 1.5 bottles to fill the case, but it doesn't matter how much you think it takes. You fill it until it comes out of the drain plug or out of the fill plug.
Comes out of the drain plug. You've done something wrong.
Because you did it in the wrong order.
Just stick that guy in there. Perfect. Cinch it up. 17 turns past tight, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There.
Okay. So we've got a rear differentials next.
Yeah.
Drain plug on the bottom. Fill plug on top.
And it's going to take the angle drive fluid.
So we've got our drain plug and our fill plug. And this is right at the rear, just behind the receiver. Oh, that's gone. So the plug just fell into the pan. Which is fine.
We're going fishing.
Yeah, just as you can see, just draining out of the drain plug. Ideally straight down into the pan. So that's all cleaned up. How do we go back on?
Here's hoping. 17 turns past tight.
I was going to do 18 turns past tight.
Oh, that's too much.
Okay. Okay, so that plug is on.
Okay, pull
so
that.
now we're going to pull off the fill plug.
And again, because we don't have the right adapter and a simple little hose, we're going to use the siphoning suction device.
Now, how much should the rear diff take?
I think it takes about half of one of these things.
Okay.
It's much thicker, so it's going to be harder to pull.
Yeah.
God, if only we had a hose and a nipple.
Yeah, if only we had the right equipment. I have an idea for the next. You had to angle it down. Okay.
Okay.
Now that we've got that done,
So let's pop that other tire off because now it's time for grease.
I'm gonna grease the rear end.
So the, what do you call this? The upper control arm has a grease nipple down below.
Yeah.
And the same on the bottom.
Okay.
And then the lower control arms have 2 pivot points in the bottom. They each have a grease nipple.
Yep.
And the top one has 1 grease nipple. And then we repeat for the other side.
Do I turn it on, twist it on? What do I do?
You just push.
Okay. So
Just push. Give it a wiggle.
there we go, like that.
Yeah. And we should be able to grease until we see something. Do your pump count.
3, 4, 5. I can't see shit, so you'll have to tell me.
I'll tell you.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, there's one. Okay. So that is a super dry fitting. So let's see if we can get that.
6, 7, 8. Now, viewers, you may have thought that was in slow motion. That's just the speed I am able to get up.
So rinse and repeat for the other side, right?
So, do you need a grease tube, you figure? Or?
No, you'll be able to tell when it's empty. Well, actually, you might not, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Okay, so we greased all the back end.
Yeah, and it was much easier when I wasn't holding a camera.
Yeah.
So it lasted, it only took like 15 seconds for the other side to do each joint, so much better.
Much better. And then we
Put
put the
the
tires back on,
and
put
put
the skid plate back on,
skid plate back on,
drop the back end.
and now we're up here.
Now we're gonna work on the front. So in the front we are doing front diff
Front diff and grease.
and grease. And the front diff uses
That stuff down there.
demand drive fluid. Demand drive fluid, not angle drive fluid. Why?
Because it costs twice as much.
Correct. Because owning ATVs is expensive.
Yeah. So we're gonna take both front tires off, only to better access the grease points because it's kind of a bear. But if you want to change the oil, you don't actually need to do it. It's quite accessible just right here. So
You don't need to take the tires off.
no.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do anyways.
And it's easy.
So I already cracked the lugs loose. And they were just as tight as the rear. Oh, caught in the groove. Just
Good. case we don't record putting these back on, my dad always taught me when you're tightening, you tighten opposites first. You tighten one, then tighten the opposite side, and then go to one, and tighten the opposite side of that. And that's so that your wheel doesn't go on all the cockum you need. Alright. Okay, so what are we going to do first?
So the drain plug is, oh, did I do it? Did I cover the drain plug up with these blocks? Nope.
Okay, so we need our pan.
The drain plug is just over here on the bottom.
Right here's the drain plug. Move the drain pan so it actually catches.
That's why you gotta have that Allen key all the way in. Just so you know, those plugs cost $40 because Polaris.
Imagine like any other vehicle. Like clearly we're working on a Polaris, but imagine any other Can-Am, Honda, they're all charged the same amount for small parts like this.
Yep.
All right, so that's gonna drain. I am gonna clean this plug. Okay, now that's finished draining, put the plug back in. So where is the fill plug?
It's just to the bottom right of the passenger side. So that one.
I'm gonna need a bigger extension.
Focus.
Yeah, so this is the one that you really need to make sure you put a lot of pressure in to be able to get the Allen key all the way in the deep.
In the deep?
In the deep.
Okay. Maybe you can get that better angle.
You just push on that for me. Oh, that was easy.
There we go. You got the
Minty.
smudger. So do you know how much this takes?
No, I don't. I don't know numbers,
Okay.
but this stuff is really thin.
Sure is.
So this is what Polaris uses for their downhill gravity, or downhill four-wheel drive braking system. Their, what do they call it? Their downhill descent control.
Yeah. Not too much.
There you go. See, she's full. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it only took like 200 mils or less.
And we're just putting that fill plug back in. Hand tighten first. And then 37 turns past tight.
Oh, this one's really going to be tight then. Okay. Good.
Excellent.
And that was the easiest one yet. So now is the bear of trying to grease this thing. Yeah, so the upper control arm has grease nipples right on the very back, which in order to grease that, you have to have monkey arms. And you have to access it from the opposite side.
Oh shit, really?
So that's why the tires gotta come off.
Oh. So, but I can do that side from this side then.
Yes. So,
Alright. Well, I'm gonna do the lowers first.
okay.
So on the front, you've got a grease nipple here on your lower arm. And a grease nipple here. And then in the ever impossible spot to reach on your upper arm, you go under here, the grease nipples are on the back side. And I can't even see on this side. And the back side of this one respectively, which you need to access from the other side. And it really helps to have two people. And that is where your grease nipples are on the front. And just in case you didn't see before, that is your front differential fill and the empty or the drain is right under here. So I'm gonna feed Matt the hose through this side.
And unfortunately,
He's gonna
I don't know any other way to do this.
Okay, so I'm feeding Matt the hose through this side. He's gonna connect it to the nipple for the opposite side.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
So the other one is even worse. So, can you get your hand in there any more than you already are?
Nope.
Because I'm holding the head of it, I just can't.
I think it's on it. Look. Yeah.
Okay, well, give it a try. I don't feel any grease coming out of it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Yay! Okay, it's got grease.
All right. Fuck, that was terrible.
Who builds this stuff? Okay, so now we switch it, and we go for an equally terrible time in opposite positions.
We're gonna do the other side. Okay, so we got the front greased.
Front greased.
Wheels are back on.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of a nightmare. Just want to let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is way less fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, don't buy an ATV. And then we've also refilled the oil.
Which we didn't show because it's 2 jugs of oil.
Yeah. So what did we learn today?
Don't buy quads.
Correct.
What else did we learn today?
Grease nipples are hard to get to.
And how many turns past tight should all fittings be?
Anywhere, depending on if you want to get them off again, from 1/4 turn to 32 turns past tight.
30 turns.
30 turns. Good. Good. And on that note,
Okay.
we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Hope you learned something.
I hope I never see you again.
We didn't.
Bye.